Happy Monstering! And welcome to another episode of My Singing Monsters Live, your one-stop shop for everything to do with My Singing Monsters. We are your hosts, Monster Handler Matt.
And Monster Handler Eric. Good to see you again, Matt.
Eric, something's different about you today.
Oh, really? What could that be?
as you stroke your beard and ponder, perhaps you've hit the nail right on the head, or should I say on the beard.
Oh.
What are these purpurious locks that I see flowing from thy face?
Well, Monster Handler Matt, as we talked about last week on the show, last weekend we had our Extra Life 24-hour stream, and as part of my personal drive towards donations, that of course also went to the Big Blue Bubble team, people donated to dye my beard, and the chosen color was purple. So I've been sporting this since Saturday.
I'd say you're rocking it, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
looking good.
We had a nice little My Singing Monsters reference too on the stream because we had 3 images up at the same time: my normal face, my bleached beard, and my purple beard. And someone commented it was common, rare, and epic Eric.
Now, Monster Handler Michael here, our technical director for this episode, has put up a couple of amazing creations, community creations here on the Minecraft server that were being worked on. And have been continuously contributed to since Extra Life ran last Saturday. The scope of these creations is ginormous.
Amazing.
There's so much to see. There's so much to see in this mini monster world, this cubic monster world here from across the different eras of the monster world and the different games. The creativity is just stunning. So thanks so much to everybody who tuned in and who participated and played along with us. It was a lot of fun. We ended up raising several $100s during that 24-hour span of time, and then Big Blue Bubble chose to very generously match and then surpass that donation size up to several thousand. So we've got quite a sizable donation that is going towards Extra Life, and what an amazing cause to be supporting. I had a great time when I was able to pop in and say hi for a couple of moments, and of course we had a certain teaser go live as well, but we'll talk about what the outcome of that teaser was in just a few minutes. But before we do, we've got to talk about the giveaway. Every single episode of My Singing Monsters Live, we do a giveaway. And whether this is your first time tuning in or your 105th, because it's episode 105 today, the mechanism by which you can enter the giveaway is mostly the same. But Monster and Eric, why don't you take it away and explain to the folks how the giveaway system works?
All you have to do is type !giveaway into the chat during this live stream. At the end of the episode, we will announce a winner of a mystery prize. If you are that winner, then please type your BBB ID /friend code into the chat and the comments so that we can deliver you your prize.
Now, we always keep what it is a secret.
That's right.
And there's a big asterisk beside always, because sometimes there are special circumstances. But episode 105 is not one of those special circumstances. We are going to be keeping it a secret until the end of the show today. Okay, Let's take a look at what happened on this day in Monster World history. Almost on this day in 2014, we had Rare Pom Pom make its first appearance in the Monster World. This, of course, one of the first expanding members of the rather small at the time Pomely. We've since sort of grown the Pomely to encompass basically all different colors of the rainbow.
Now that you mention that, though, Matt, I realize I suddenly feel a new kinship with Rare Pom.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but
I don't know if what can be called furthers are there upon your visage. But let's say, for argument's sake, that they are. And then just this past year, in 2019, 1 year ago, to the day today, Epic Pummel made its first appearance. Of course, a Hammerheadian take on the otherwise shark-like Pummel monster, and quite a well-read monster as well. Quite the bookworm or bookfish. We're going to need a bigger book sort of situation. Okay, let's take a look forward to what happened this week in My Singing Monsters. Now, we had several new quests, permanent quests, added to the Colosseum, starting with the Earth-themed Landlubbers quest and continuing through to several more quests, including a special element number series that were all added permanently to the Colosseum. Now, you need to have finished all of the 18 quests that were previously released in order to play these quests. But don't worry, as I mentioned, these are permanently added, so you can work your way towards them on your own pace, at your own pace, I should say. And there are, of course, lots of exciting new trophies to earn among these new quests as well. So make sure to check that out on the Coliseum. Okay, we've got, of course, I mentioned there was a teaser on Extra Life. We had a very exciting monster join our ranks this week. This was, of course, the Fiddleman monster that was added to Light Island. Lots of people were correctly guessing based on the teaser that we aired during Extra Life on Saturday that this was the third and final of the light hybrid triple element monsters on Light Island. So that means that there's only one to go, Monster Handler Eric. But for now, let's bask in the glorious glow of Fiddleman. A very popular monster. It's only a couple of days old, but I saw a lot of acclaim coming in for it.
Yes, very warm reception for this one.
Yes, almost incandescent reception. So there's that permanently added to Light Island, and of course we've got some weekend special offers and promotions that just began a little over an hour ago. We've got our Stuff of Legend promotion, in which you can get 50% off Sugar Bush and the featured member of the Sugar Fam, Sugar Rock. Here we can see it basking gloriously in the sun. If I didn't know any better, I'd think maybe that was Fiddleman shining a light there on Sugar Rock, but I can't confirm that it is in fact the glow of the sun that causes the faded coloration of the Sugar Rock's fur. And there's, of course, Sugar Bush as well, discounted to 50% off on both Plant Island and Sugar Bush Island. Other exciting things happening on Plant Island and beyond in the Monster World this weekend. We've got a curious twosome there of Rare Clamble and Rare Bogart available to buy or breed. What the significance of these two monsters being available could be, I couldn't possibly guess. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the Stuff of Legend promotion that's running this weekend. And then finally, you can get up to 50% more in diamond packs. That's 25% in all packs, except for 50% more in the featured pack, the treasure chest. So make sure to check that out this weekend only. And then finally, as promised, the cycle of limited quests is beginning anew with the return of the Dark Stride and the True or Falsetto quests that you can win costumes for Drumpler and Furcorn, the Bionic Braces, and the Lucky 13 costumes. I know several people were worried that when those limited quests first disappeared from the Coliseum, would they ever return? Well, I'm happy to report, of course, that they have returned. And now you can participate. And of course, if you participated in the last time that they were available, well, you can get additional free copies of these costumes by running these quests again. And that also applies to trophies as well. So make sure that even if you've run these quests already, run them again. There's more where that came from. Okay, looking over to Dawn of Fire, sort of a complement to its rare availability in My Singing Monsters. You can get 50% off the young and adult Clamble this particular weekend. I know Monster Handler Dave used to joke that Clamble was perhaps one of the least loved monsters. I'd like the My Singing Monsters community to prove him wrong and to show a lot of love in the chat for Clamble, because I, as a percussionist, I quite like this sort of hi-hat Tian monster. It really works for me. And you know what else works for me? An excellent special offer on diamond packs this weekend in Dawn of Fire. You can get 40% more in all packs. So if you're looking to grab one of those discounted Clambles, well, you need only check out the diamond section in Dawn of Fire and get some awesome special offers. Okay, that's all of what's going on this past week in My Singing Monsters, and looking forward to the weekend in Dawn of Fire, of course.
Well, Matt, that's very informative.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Could it be formatted quickly?
I believe they could.
Well,
These are
that's wonderful.
Quick questions. Quick
questions. Yes, this segment comes to us courtesy of the community, who asked us all sorts of exciting questions using the hashtag #MyStreamingMonsters, which you can see in red down there at the bottom of the screen. So if you have a question for us, make sure to post it to our social media channels, to Facebook, to Twitter, to Instagram, and be sure to include hashtag #MyStreamingMonsters so that we know that you want us, Monster Handlers, to give it a shot at answering some of these questions. Okay, Monster Handler Eric, why don't you lay him on me?
All right, this first one comes from Starburst Clown, and they ask, "How does Fiddleman make?" Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this instrument, Monster Handler Matt. Maybe you can educate me right here, right now. Is it Eru?
I think now there are a couple of different pronunciations. Eru is one of them. Sometimes I hear the H aspirated, Erhu, but I think multiple pronunciations are acceptable. What the ideal pronunciation is, perhaps someone in the chat can comment if they have such chordophone expertise.
Okay, so moving on with this question.
Yes.
How does Fiddleman make it sound? It seems to do it with its mouth, but that should be impossible, right?
Now, Starburst Clown, I'm surprised at you. I know that you're a very well-researched member of the community, and the answer can be contained simply inside of the bio by reading its bio in-game. As the bio attests, the strong amplitude of the light waves actually produces that sound inside the bulb, and that's how the fiddlement expresses itself. Now, in terms of it being an instrument sound that comes out of a mouth, well, this is my singing monsters that you've got to remember, and the standard rules of the human world need not apply. There's all sorts of exciting magical things that can be accomplished in the monster world, and of course Fiddlement is a magical monster. So yes, it is emerging from the monster's very unique face. Sort of looks like a filament, hence where maybe the name comes from, maybe.
Not to mention, there are some very talented humans who could make instrument sounds come out of their mouth.
That's right. Many of them belong to a cappella choirs. Did you know that I used to be part of an a cappella choir, Monster Handler Eric?
I didn't, but that's excellent. I mean, that makes perfect sense. Doesn't surprise me.
I had a very embarrassing performance where I had to try and squeak a high note out, and it didn't work. But you know what? Let's let bygones be bygones and move on to the next question.
That's right. Cadecraft MSM asks, since Fiddlement can fly, can it fly over the other islands and maybe find an unknown land?
Well, Cadecraft, I think it's perhaps more accurate to say that Fiddlement can float more so than it can fly. I'm not sure how much lift it would be able to achieve up into the sky, like, for example, a Tweedle or a Glowl might be able to achieve. So I'm not entirely sure if Fiddlements are capable of flight. So I think it might be confined to Light Island for now. And with respect to any sort of exploration that it might be doing, well, I don't know what sort of exploration to be doing. It would appear that, you know, with the discovery of this final magical island, I'm sure that means that there's nothing else in the monster world to discover, right?
Yeah, I mean,
yes, right? Yeah. So, you know, who wants to go exploring, right? Like with the discovery of Light Island, it sort of concluded the fire monsters' sort of campaign, their mission to explore the different corners of the monster world. They're pretty satisfied with the grouping that they've got going on these days, I'm sure.
As they should be. It's a great group.
What's next?
Boy Machina asks, here's my quick question. Judging from Fiddleman's bio, how does it repair itself?
So, Boy Machina, I think that there might have been a miscommunication here that I'm happy to clarify. The Fiddlement doesn't do many reparations itself, but there is a mention in its bio of it taking a look at busted up potholes in the road, and what it does is that it shines a light on them. It doesn't repair them itself, but it sort of is like a living a torch or flashlight that can be used to illuminate any sort of task that other monsters might be trying to perform. So it's there in sort of an assistant capacity. It doesn't do many reparations itself, and sort of unclear if like the Wublin drum roll, if it has any sort of limbs there underneath that can be used to grasp, but it just sort of seems sort of vaguely conical and lampshade shaped. I'm not sure if there are any grasping units of the monster. Hard to say.
Very good. Got Milk 384 asks, what is a group of Suzas called?
I am happy to reveal that a group of Suzas, calling back to Sousa, which is obviously still on the brain because of its involvement in Light Island, is called an ensemble of Suzas, which is may or may not be inspired by what a group of brass instruments playing together is often referred to as an ensemble. And of course, the French word for together.
Oh, I actually
Ooh.
didn't. I'm learning.
That's what we do here on My Singing Monsters Live, Eric. We learn, we teach, and we grow.
Let's try to teach the answer to this next question from Magnus 548-53050. What is inside of an island? For example, you can fight inside of the Colosseum. So are there special rooms like that inside the other islands? And I know we've played with this a bit in videos previously too.
Indeed. As a generalization, and so take this with a grain of salt, the Colosseum works differently than many of the other islands because it is sort of a physical structure. It's almost more like a building than it is like a Titan or a Colossal. But we do know that a colossal spirit is residing sort of inside that building. In fact, it was the first recorded instance of a Colossal imbuing its life force. So it was sort of the trial run. Don't know how successful it was in terms of sort of changing the shape of the landscape to suit its needs, but it would appear instead that the life force sort of exists in the architecture of the Colosseum itself. So you're right, there is an arena, there are sort of antechambers and rooms there inside of the Colosseum. It's like a big complex, right? A megaplex. Whereas with the other islands, depending on if we're referring to islands or island skins, which are often titans of the monster world, gigantic creatures that roam the monster world. Let's say, for example, if we want to use the Plant Island or the natural islands, Plant Island as an example, inside of Plant Island, it's more akin to sort of like an underground network of caves and of pockets and sort of a subterranean sort of aspect, much less sort of established, a lot more rugged, a lot more untamed, if you will. And we do know that, you know, among the mysterious objects that can be found inside islands are things like crystal deposits like Vigidian and Frosium and Skylight that were used and that were mined in order to create the new crystalline castles on the natural islands. And there's also things like vaults that Wubox can be found in, and dipster layers, and all sorts of exciting things happening inside. So there's sort of like mini planets. There's like the crust on top, and then as you go deeper in past the mantle and getting to the core and stuff like that, there's almost like little worlds in and of themselves.
So much to uncover.
Indeed.
At Cubwax asks, is the eyeball atop the oculo tree part of the tree itself, or is it a separate creature entirely?
It is part of the oculo tree itself. Oculo trees, of course, sort of spring into being when Riff, the quad element monster of Air Island, of course, molts, and its feathers sort of interlace in the root network of the tree. So that's sort of one of the ways that this otherwise flora sort of creature becomes semi-fauna, and there's sort of an incorporation of animal there inside the plant, hence the oculo tree having its eyeball there at the top.
Very good. All right,
there you go.
Matt, I have one more question for you, and it's
all right. I'm happy to answer it.
Question.
Oh no!
Because it's our Stump of the Week.
Stump of the Week. Okay. Well, in Stump of the Week, the community, one member of the community in particular, asks a question that they already know the answer to, and that I maybe don't. So we'll see how it goes today. All right, Monster Handler Eric, lay it on me.
Okay, let me add a note here first. No funny business here, Monster Handler Matt. No technicalities on this one.
All right.
This question comes from Isarat1234, and they ask, how many feathers are visible on Fiddleman?
Oh, well, this ain't happening. But I will make an educated guess. I am going to say just totally spitballing. I'm going to say 27. 27.
Stump.
Oh, rats! Monster Handler Michael was ready there. He was ready. He knew I would not prevail today.
What was happening?
Yeah, he saw the writing on the wall, or perhaps the feathers on the fiddlement. I like that expression. the feathers. He saw the feathers on the Fiddleman, and then we knew that. Well, okay, maybe next week. Maybe next week I will return to answering Stump questions correctly. But what happens every single week is that we take a look at
answer the question with the correct answer before we move on to Monsterpiece.
No, well, maybe sometimes. No promises, right? So, as you said, Monster and Eric, we've got to take a look at some beautiful monster pieces.
Are we actually hiding the answer to this question?
Wait, did you say it?
No. Not yet.
So, all right. So I was stumped. All right. What is the correct answer, Eric? I'm sorry. I just wanted to move on. Limit the shame.
There's a lot to
look
at.
All right, Eric. What is it?
The answer was 13. Lucky 13 for Friday the 13th.
Well, that's sort of.
What day is it today?
That sort of works out nicely, except for me, who did not take any sort of cues or clues as to the hint. But okay, now we'll know that it's 13 on the 13th. We'll always remember. Okay.
To your favorite Monsterpieces.
Yes, Monsterpieces, beautiful works of art sent in to us by the community that we can observe here on the show. I see here from Donkey Pango, we have a glorious image of Sugarbush removing its fedora, and it has a little bit of growth there on top. I wonder if it's using Rogaine or some other sort of minoxidil-based product in order to sort of get the growth there back on the head. Because I do know that as a rule, Sugar Fam members tend to have high foreheads. Let's call it that way. Something I can definitely sympathize with. Next up from Delta RJ. Oh, I think this is going to be the first of many beautiful monster pieces featuring our brand new light elemental Fiddleman. Look at the sweet expression on that Fiddleman. It's amazing how just a few lines can communicate such a feeling of happiness and of a welcoming spirit. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well done, Delta RJ. Next up from Pharaoh Pal. Oh, another Fiddleman-based monster piece. Here, it looks like the Phosphora Titan has perhaps snoozed too long, and the Aurora Monstralis has sort of disappeared from the sky because it looks like it's daytime here.
That's right.
on Light Island.
I'm really surprised by this development.
Yes, it certainly does. Again, great way to sort of express oneself just with a few lines. That's all you really need, right?
That's right.
Next up from Lebowski 3333, another Fiddleman work of art. Here, drawn on what looks like a cutting board. I wonder if they were trying to assist me earlier by cutting the number of feathers on the Fiddleman, although I went the opposite direction. I said more, and of course the correct answer was less. But another glorious representation of Fiddleman here by Lebowski 3333. Thank you for sending it in.
Very nice word art there too.
And we've got from nwaffle212, a combination of a few monsters that have appeared on Light Island. We've got a Tutu doing a performance there, and Fiddleman sort of acting as the Fresnel. Is that the right term? I can't remember. From my theater stagecraft days, I think Fresnel might be floor mounted. I can't remember. If anyone knows, let me know. But I do remember hanging lights. And you know what? Who needs those lights when you can just ask a Fiddleman to just sort of float above you and to cast a beautiful glow upon you as you perform your dance routines, just like Tutu does.
That's right. Great teamwork here.
I like this scene. It looks like it's both Furcorn and Bulbo there that we're observing the work of art. Thank you, Monster Handler Michael. All right. Next up from Zick Jeff MSM. Oh, yes. Several monster handlers were quick to draw this comparison as well, but it certainly looks like the Fiddleman would be the perfect sort of tool that you might use in a game of badminton.
That's right.
It's a wonderful thing, and of course Fiddleman not the largest monster either, so maybe this would actually sort of work out.
Yes, it's got just the right amount of float, maybe for.
Yes, this might be a great beginner. For badminton. I remember badminton was one of my favorite sports to play in high school.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and Fiddleman would make it all the more fun. Next up from BombNom11, here we've got a wonderful group. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. BombNom here. These are not Wubblins, but Ducklins.
Yeah, I believe they're Ducklins.
Ducklands, right? I added a blin when I should not have. Yes, Ducklands, and they're all united in their duck likeness. But of course, Wubbox there has sort of a special designation as the yellow duck.
That's right.
Gotta know who's boss. You gotta know who's boss. Yes, this one is very inspired. Simple but effective.
That's right.
Next up from Mammothmon, we've got a beautiful Lego rendering of Gob. Now, I saw both posts here that Mammothmon posted. There's a version of it where its gob is closed, and then one where they've actually created the mouth inside, the gaping jaws of Gob, performing its aperture overture.
Well, I believe this one was from Reddit, so maybe people have to go on there to find the one with the open mouth, because I will be looking for that later. Indeed.
Next up from Mr. Blue. Oh, this is a perfect one. Great username for Mr. Blue, because we've got Bogart here looking very smug. Now, sometimes Bogarts can be a little nervous. It can sort of chew on their lips when they're performing, bite their lips. But this Bogart looks absolutely chill. Mr. Blue, a blue monster just like Bogart. And of course, rare Bogart available to buy or breed this weekend, so make sure to add it to your collection. Next, from My Singing Puggos, we've got a couple of monsters here that look like they look a little sus to me.
Yes, I would say very sus indeed.
Very sus. Which is the most sus, would you say?
Ooh, I don't trust that fur corn in the middle.
I'm feeling the same vibe as you, Monster Handler.
Looks ready to vent, if you ask me.
Yes, ready to pop in the vent there. Yes, you wonder if Riedling and Toejammer there, just their body shapes give away that they are not the infiltrator.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. And I believe this may be related to our Extra Life, where we did play a lot of Among Us with the community and had a lot of fun. And the community actually had some very inspired costumes in Among Us representing the monsters. I believe there was a fur corn and rare Punkleton bag on head type of costume.
Wow.
I believe there were some others as well. So
I love that.
If you did have those in the game, please take a photo and send it to us with the hashtag MyStream. Maybe we can look at some of those next week.
Were you ever the imposter, Monster Handler Eric?
I was mostly commentating. I think I only played 1 or 2 rounds.
I was.
But Monster Handler Michael certainly was, and some of the other Monster Handlers were as well. So
very
it was
sus.
very, very fun to see both sides of the game.
Very sus, very sus. We'll have to discuss this further. Okay, finally, we've got our Monsterpiece that we'll take a look at here today, submitted to us from Puddles142. We've got a Congle here. When you about to get relics on spin wheel, and then there's Fiddleman's expression when it lands on 2,000 coins instead. Poor Fiddleman. Yes, it looks a little disappointed there. It looks a little aghast there.
Yes, you were dead on about those lines for facial expressions. This captures that moment perfectly.
Yes, indeed. Well, you know what? You just got to keep spinning that spin wheel, because someday, the prize that you are seeking will be yours. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's all of the Monsterpieces and Memsterpiece that we've got to take a look at today. Why don't we, Monster Handlers Michael and Eric, while we are drawing the winner of our giveaway, reveal what is going to be won today by our winner.
I can't wait.
Well, for today's giveaway, episode 105, it'll be player's choice. It'll be winner's choice of either a rare Clamble or a rare Bogart that they can choose from. Both exciting monsters in their own right. Which will the winner choose? Could I get a drum roll, please, Monster Handler Eric? The winner of today's giveaway is Loggy2288. Congratulations, Loggy2288. As Monster Handler Eric said at the beginning of the show, please send us your BBB ID /friend code in My Singing Monsters. Comment it in the chat. Put it in the comment section of this video. Just blanket it everywhere so that we grab it and we know where to deliver your Rare Bogart or Rare Clam. Also, please specify which of the two you'd like to accept as your prize for today. Okay, Monster Handler Eric, we're almost done the episode. We've just got one more thing to share, and that is, of course, a wonderful composer piece that was submitted to us by Mateo Garcia. And Mateo Garcia did a very exciting composition called The Eruption. And I wonder if it sort of chronicles, it speculates at a historic eruption of the living core, the volcano that was previously a part of the continent during Dawn of Fire and which later became Firehaven in the current era. It's a lovely composition that makes use of all sorts of different monsters, ethereals, rares, common monsters. Oh, it's a wonderful thing to behold and to listen to. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode 105 of My Singing Monsters Live. Thank you to Monster Handler Michael for a flawless show. Thank you to Monster Handler Eric for being an excellent co-host.
Thank you.
You know what? I don't know if my beard will ever grow to such exciting lengths, but maybe I'll take a cue from Monster Handler Eric and dye it someday. Okay, let's have a listen to The Eruption by Mateo Garcia. We'll see you next week on My Singing Monsters Live episode 106, and until then...